Alrighty, I see a few folks starting to join. Happy Monday to you all. Chris Varley here with the Trade Idea Support and Education Team for Monday, June 23rd, 2025, live Q&A for Trade Idea Software. Let's get rock and rolling. Anybody with questions, get those right in. It's a live open forum here for this. We don't do any pre-done content on this stream. I'll leave it up to you folks to drive the content with your questions. So don't be shy. Come one, come all. Come one, come all with the questions. Like I said, we don't do any pre-done content with this here. Let you folks drive the content of this with your questions, what you want to see and know about the software, what you're looking to learn, how you want to leverage it, so on and so forth. So again, get those questions in for me. Don't be shy, don't be shy. We're always looking for you folks to drive the content of this with your questions, what you need, what you're looking for with software. They say it doesn't really help if I just aimlessly drone on to you about whatever in the markets. Sure. Dylan, do you have sound elsewhere? Let's start with that first. Do you have any sound coming in at all from any kind of scans or anything? All right, so no sound. All right, so first thing I want to check with you is the main sound bar up here, or the menu bar with the sound. Make sure that that's not marked off. Somehow that seems to happen on occasion here to folks. So make sure you've got that set the way you want it with it on. That's first and foremost. So again, that's going to be right there, circled in that pink. Once you've checked that, then you head over to Holly itself, right click, go to actions, make sure play sound is checked and set up sound, and you got text to speech in here. That's the short and skinny of it. I do have this window that I'll share for sound testing. So it should be a good amount of alerts that come through. Mike, see what's happening. And I see other questions that have come in. Give me a moment here, folks. So all else has failed so far there. Dylan, please load that window and let me know if you're getting sound from that window. And then let's see here. Good morning. Is this where Andy Lindloff is on maybe a different? Yeah, so I cover Mondays. It's a mix between me, Andy, and Steve on Tuesdays. Our CEO, Dan, does Wednesdays. Steve does Thursdays. Andy does Fridays. That's generally how the schedule shakes out, depending, of course, on, on days off and things of that nature. Am I trading Holly on autopilot? No, there's no Holly on autopilot, Dave. Does not exist. Not an option. We do not promote or advertise any Holly automation whatsoever. And then, Dylan, if you let me know if that test scan that I gave you has got alerts coming in for you. Or I shouldn't say alerts, but sound, actually. All right, so the only other thing I can think of is this, Dylan, is do you have other windows with active sound in it? Because, if you've got like 5 or 6 alerts coming at the same time at sound, it's got to pick one. It can't push them all through at once, essentially. And so Holly could be getting the short stick on that and drowned out. Holly give entry suggestion. Yes, Holly gives a suggested entry price and a suggested stop loss. Of course, from there, what you do with it is up to you. We're never going to recommend you blindly follow anything, Holly included. And of course, you've got to manage if and when it gets into the money, how you want to manage from there. All right, thanks, Dylan. Yeah. I could share my Holly window. Well, actually, I don't use sound on the platform at all. I haven't used sound on the platform in 6 or 7 years at this point. I'm not a sound person, so I can enable my Holly window with sound and share it with you, but you're not going to hear anything unless Holly does something. So, but yeah, back to 3 sharp A's, 3 sharps A. Yeah, Holly just makes an entry price and a suggested stop. There are some Holly things on charts here if you want. Properties, smart risk levels, and also show AI trades. I don't like things on my charts at all. I like my charts very blank and clean for the most part. But so if you click on a Holly alert, you get some items on here. There's 2 different charts we offer. Right now I'm on our browser charts that offer the picture-in-picture. If you right click and you undo the browser, you get a little different look of Holly here. So, some different items that are in there as far as that goes. Can we look at HUSA? Sure, HUSA. Sorry, I want to clean my charts back up again. Look at a chart here. I don't know too much what to comment on this. Big gap up, traded up, come down, seem to found a bottom for the moment. Struggling to break out at this level here. Looks like I just did a reverse split not too terribly long ago. The thing is, clear downtrend as far as the rest goes. So it's not, not anything that I'd be looking at on a long-term basis quite personally. Here's sometime in probably 2022. It's been on a straight downtrend since 2022. Anything could turn itself around at any point, I guess, but I'm not one to catch a falling knife. And with them having recently done a reverse split, probably doesn't bode well for the company overall. As far as day trade goes, though, I mean, it's recaptured the VWAP back over it. So, maybe if you can break out of that level that it's currently at, might maybe take a shot at the high of the day. That's what I'd be looking at there. Not my cup of tea of a trade personally. No other sound. There's no way to backtest Holly strategies. You can backtest your own strategies, but Holly is this window here. You get what you get out of it. You can change some of the columns around, right-click columns, your master bank on the right, what you're displaying on the left. You move things right to left with selecting it and the arrows back and forth. But there's no editing Holly. You can't feed it anything. You can't change anything in it. Holly comes with the strategies that she has that back tested and optimized the best each day. And if a stock meets any of those strategies, you get the alert with the entry price and a stop price, and some other things from there. I got a video that's very comprehensive on Holly. I think it answers most, if not all, questions regarding Holly. You don't have to watch it now, but you bookmark it for later when we're not in this live session here, and you may find some usefulness of that video down the road here. And of course, if you have other Holly questions, fire those in. Well, define does it work more often than not, right? Because look, let me show you something here. Look at this max profit column, right? Now, this is just on a hypothetical risking $100 based on the stop loss here. It's just hypothetical, right? But look, every single one of these trades today were in the money at one point, every one of them. Now, these are all red down here currently, but every one of them were red. So you had 100% working today. Do we normally see 100% working? No, absolutely not, right? But if you're not managing this here, and it's a lot of trades, I don't think there's anybody that realistically could have gotten every one of these trades and managed them properly. So you got to be a trader still. What I tell people is, if you're looking for something just to tell you what to do and then that's it, you want a financial advisor in that case, or some kind of portfolio manager or something like that. But if you're looking to manage your own money, you still got to have your own trading plan. Holly puts out some great alerts every week. Let's say, let's take for average's sake, if she averaged 5 alerts per day for 5 days, that's 25 alerts. You're probably going to find more often than not, 50+% of them have seen decent money upside at some point in them. I think that's a fair assessment. You're going to have weeks or stretches where maybe only 20-30% of the trades make it in the money. You're going to have weeks and stretches where 55-60% make it into the money. A lot of this, based on, look, Holly back tests and optimize. And when the market's just in a straight up uptrend, it makes it much easier, like everything else. But when the market gets choppy, it makes it harder on Holly. On top of, we start to move up for several days and we move down for several days. Like, I'm not just talking about sideways chop day to day, but I'm talking about we get 3 or 4 or 5 days in a row we're up. And then all of a sudden we get 2 days down and then 3 more days back up and then 5 or 6 days back down. I mean, that longer term chop versus just a chop intraday, impacts Holly as well on how long things stay in the money for and things of that nature. So that's the, that's my bottom line on Holly. And again, the video that I shared, I think is a great Holly video. It gives you a realistic look at, Holly and the functions and the features in there and some of my realistic thoughts on Holly as well. Again, look at it. You don't have to look at it now. Obviously we're live. So I prefer you guys interact with me live now. And then the videos can, be used at another time when you're in downtime off of any live help you're trying to get. What is the difference between Holly AI and TradeWave? They're not interconnected in any way whatsoever. The TradeWave is simply an EMA crossover with this cloud. So crossover up will be this blue cloud here. Crossover down will be this orange cloud here. And it's simply trend finding. It's simply trying to find a change in trend and then keep you in that trend as long as it can. Like any other indicator, almost every indicator is based on trend following, almost all of them. So same kind of concept here, just using the EMA crossover and cloud. No, Holly, there's no link to backtest. Again, there's no way to backtest Holly strategies. There's no link about any of it or anything like that. The other thing you can see besides what I showed there is if you go to new, go to premium AI strategy window. And this is just going to show you the strategies that Holly came with today. Doesn't mean that they will fire. So look, if we look here, we can see trades today on each of the strategies. So breakout longs got 3, downward dogs got 2, topping formations got 3, mighty mouse has 1, tailwind has 2, and all these have no trades. It means no stock has met those today. Here's your win percent on the back test, your profit factor on it, all right, on each column. So you can see that. Now, for some disclosure and what's going to likely be confusing, and it is what it is. I can't undo what was done. Originally, there was just Holly. So please bear with me here and a little extra attention for those that are Holly curious here. So this may help clear up some things, some questions you might have down the line or currently. Originally, there was just Holly back in December of 2016. The original Holly came out, and there was only that Holly for 2017 and half of 2018. Sometime around June of 2018, new strategies were added to Holly, but they decided because the strategies offered a little something different than what the original ones did and how the back testing could be done and some things like that, and different people created these strategies. In a sense, and a way to give them credit, those strategies were named Holly 2.0 strategies and Holly Neo strategies. There's really no core difference between any of that. But that became ultra confusing, and we left it like that for several years. And then probably sometime in 2021 or 2022, we crushed the Holly 2.0 strategies into the Holly Grail strategies. So it's just that Holly, that's it. However, Holly Neo back tests a little differently, that there are certain filters that cannot be adjusted or drop below certain thresholds. Specifically among those is relative volume. In order for the Holly Neo strategies, Holly Neo strategies always have very high relative volume. So Holly Neo is left as a separate segment, and it comes every single day. There are 4 Holly Neo strategies. There's the circle on those, and here's this one here. And those 4 Holly Neo strategies, no matter what the back tests say, they come every single day. That will change in the not too very distant future. That's it. I would encourage everybody, forget about Holly Neo, forget about Holly 2.0. It's just Holly. That's it. There's just Holly. It's much easier if you just think of it as Holly and nothing else. That's my short and skinny on all that. I don't know that that makes anything less confusing or not, but it is what it is. I cover that in the video I shared, by the way. I believe it's an 8 and 9 crossover. Let's see here. FX trade wave. Fast EMA is 8, slow EMA is 9. You can adjust them if you want. That's entirely up to you. I looked at the Holly YouTube video before, thought I recognized your voice. Yeah, you know, I've got the perfect face for radio, I'm told. So, you know, I've done a lot of videos on the software in general. I try to do the best that I can. I was a long time, well, I was a long time. I was a medium time user. I won't call it a long time user. I was a medium time user before I landed employment here with Trade Ideas. So I know what it's like to be in the user seat before I'm in the seat of someone that actually works here. So I try the best that I can to put that user's hat on whenever I'm doing both these live streams and any videos, knowing that there's a lot of stuff with this software, an incredible amount. And if you don't have some context leading into specific functions, well, it's tough to get them down. So that's why I try to assume people are more to the newer side of using a feature when I'm trying to discuss it to help fill in some of those context holes. Yeah, True Seeker, I can, and sure, I can share my layout. There's going to be some of my stuff is linked to symbols lists that are not shareable. You know, they're for my account. So those will probably come in blank. And remember, you know, my layout is for me. You know, it's for my trading. So It's not, I tell everybody there's no special layout, there's no special scan or anything like that. The special stuff is what you made to go with your trading plans, right? And to just take that a little bit further, I don't day trade at all anymore. And almost all these windows are day trading window, day trading window, day trading window, day trading window. This is just random I like stuff. Some of it are dividend stocks that I actually own in a very long-term portfolio. Other ones I've just liked for various reasons, testing things, and I haven't unliked them since. This is one of my main scans to find ideas from. Mostly I do that in the evenings or very early mornings before the market opens. So with all that said, the 3 races, Truth Seeker. So here we go. Let's explaining races twofold. So first, there's the underlying top list, how the race is kind of generated from. And so in this top list, I said, top list, please find me stocks that are between $2 and $30, traded at least 400,000 shares on the day. They're 85% above the lower Bollinger Band, and they've just got a little bit of intraday volume metrics going on to make sure the stock is consistently trading, and it's not just, 1,000 shares here, doesn't trade for an hour, 5,000 shares here, doesn't trade for 40 minutes, that kind of thing like that. And then I said, once you find me those stocks, I want you to sort them. The ones that are up the most from the open, I want those on top. That's what I want to see at the top. Then I told the race, I said, hey, race, I want you to run 3-minute races. The reason I did 3-minute races is when I was a day trader, I like 15-minute charts and 5-minute charts. So I figured 5 races broke down to 15 minutes at 3 minutes apiece. That was the reason for that. 5 times 3, 15. I've left it since then. I don't, like I said, I don't day trade at all anymore. I then told the race, I want everything raced based on the change from open and sorted on the change from opening in ascending order with the highest change from open on top. And that's really it. That's everything. That's the short and skinny of that race. Let me get out of this here. Let me close this here. Then this race actually is a play on Barry's 10-day daily breakout race. So again, we'll look at the underlying top list. So stocks had to be between $2 and $35, trading 500,000 shares on the day or more. They got to be up 0.4% from the open. They got to be 100% above the low of the 10-day. So they got to be at the top of their 10-day range or higher. Got to have a relative volume of 5. Then I'm sorting based on the change from close percent here, with the biggest one, the ones that are up the most from the prior day's close on top. And then I race them thusly. Show race setup. Change from close on a delta value instead of a total accumulation. I have this on a delta value ascending instead, and the rest is all the same. Rest is all irrelevant. And I left it on the 3-minute race because, like I said before, when I was day trading, that's how I rolled. Last but not least, this is very similar to the top scan, but no Bollinger Band in here. A little more volume metrics and a little higher on the minimum price. Sorting the same way, racing the same way. All the same there. So that's the short and skinny what I've done there. As far as that goes. So, all right, let's see. Let's catch up here. Shared the layout. My bottom line, if you are not an experienced trader and you think and you are trying to trade using the very good and comprehensive charts and data TI, you would likely lose money. You have to know the signals. Well, I'd say this, right? Trading is a profession. And like any profession, it requires the utmost study and discipline and a plan of action, right? You don't walk up to the Hudson River and say, you know what? I'm going to build a bridge across this river, having never built a bridge in your entire life. You could have all the great tools, right? You could have all the cranes that you need and the barges. You'd have all the, scaffolding, all the metal, the concrete, everything. You could have everything, and you could have the best of all the best tools and all the best material in the world at your disposal to build this bridge. But if you've never built a bridge before, it all means absolutely nothing, right? You're not going to build that bridge having no experience. It's no different with trading. I happen to think we have the best software. Other people may argue that. That's fine. They're entitled to their opinions, and different people using the software in different ways for different reasons and all those things like that. But if you have no experience whatsoever reading charts and technical analysis, I'm sorry. You could have our software and every one of our competitors out there, and you're still going to lose money. It's just that simple, you know. We get out of things what we put into them, and there's no promise on anything either, you know, especially with trading. So I also try to tell people, you know, trading is not a job. Again, it's a business. You're going into business for yourself, right? McDonald's has lots of jobs for everybody. Get hired to do anything there. You know, IBM's got lots of jobs for people. You know, the town DPW's got lots of jobs for people. When you go into business, you know, you need a business plan, right? So trading, you're going into business for yourself. Your trading plan is your business plan. You also need capital to start a business. Most people don't have, you know, $5 million to open a new restaurant or whatever it costs to open a new restaurant, right? You got to go to a bank and get that and say, hey, bank, I got this great idea for a restaurant. And they'll say, awesome. What's the business plan on the restaurant? And you'll say, well, I don't have that yet, but I'm sure I could do something. I'll say, well, that's great. When you have that, come back and talk to us and we'll talk about the money, right? No different. You're the bank in this case too, though. You got to give yourself the money to start your trading account, right? So, you know, are you really going to give yourself money to stick in a trading account when you have no plan of action on trading? Won't work out very well. Former MMA champion, now battling successful trades, was talented and deadly, but in cell fingers. Yeah, I couldn't be any further away from an MMA champion if I tried. But thank you, Mike C. Thank you for talking me up. I've been noticing the last few trading days on my price alerts that current price is not keeping up with actual price. Thoughts? The price and the price alerts takes, it's got a refresh rate of, I don't know, 8 seconds or something like that, Tampa. So it's, yeah, it's an 8-second refresh on the price alerts. That's probably what you're seeing as a quote delay. Our charts used to also have an 8 to 10 second refresh on them for the prices. Several years ago, we moved to a different proxy server and we're able to keep it up live. So, you know, that's live there. It was the same thing in the single stock window. This took, this was an 8 to 10 second refresh. So these are both live. Technically, they're now like quarter-second refreshes, but they're live. I mean, they're live. Truth Seeker, glad that helped. All right, this is great so far. I appreciate the questions, the comments, the interactions. This is big time. I really, really greatly appreciate all this. So keep them coming, please and thank you. This is, like I say, always much more preferable to when, you know, it's kind of just silent and I randomly talk to you folks about whatever in the market. You know, I don't know. I quote, don't know anything more than anybody else out there. I like to look at charts. I have a passion for it. Am I awesome at trading? No, I'm always improving though. I like to believe I'm, you know, consistently improving over the years. You know, that's the end goal here. I don't have any special insight that others don't have. Is there any delay in trade execution for brokerage plus any of the brokers, or is it should be the same as executing in your broker? I mean, unless you have some kind of ISP issue or anything like that, but it should be the same as executing in your brokers outside of some external factor that we have no control over. Yeah, I mean, I think 3 sharps. I think there's always room for more education study. You know, how deep you want to get into the different indicators obviously is dependent on, you know, where you think you may head with those indicators or not. You know, for example, I did the level 1 of the CMT course. I had to stop because of personal reasons. As my free time comes back to me again over the next 12 months, I'll go back and I'll finish up the CMT courses and look to become a chartered market technician. I just don't have the personal time to study it. It's a tough course. I never did any college or anything like that. And, you know, very far removed from high school, very, 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 very far removed from high school and study habits and things like that. So I did find it a challenge, the studying, and I need that full 6 months to really get stuff down. So like I have a handle on a lot of technical indicators because I have to for the CMT courses, but I like support and resistance, volume. That's really it. The only thing I have on the races to share is the user's guide section. I believe it's fairly comprehensive, and I will stick a link to that right here for you. I actually will be doing a video on the races sometime here in the not too distant future. I hope to actually do it this week, but we'll see how my schedule goes. One of the folks on our marketing team and web designers is putting together different pages for different features. Races are up next, so I'm going to do a video for him on that. For Brokerage Plus new trading strategy, the entry tab, are these instructions right? Uncheck all the options except send orders when holding. There's no right or wrong on it. It's what you want, right? It's what you're trying to accomplish here. I will tell you this. Where the heck is the strategies tab? If you have a strategy or you have multiple strategies that are sending orders for the same symbols at the same time in the same account, your orders will get crossed. It will create errors. It could turn longs into shorts. It could turn shorts into longs. So please don't do that. This is just market mechanics. You can't, in the same account, you can't hold a position long and short at the same time. It's not physically, it's not possible to hold a position long and short at the same time in the same account. That's kind of what you would be trying to do here in a sense. What often happens is people, let's say they're trading HUSA and they've got order one that comes in to get them in here, and it puts a stop loss here and a target here. And then order two comes in and it gets them down here, and it puts a stop loss down here and a target down there. Well, all of a sudden, if this target gets hit, the original order that was here could be the one that triggers instead, that original position, I should say. And then it starts canceling out the wrong stops and targets, right? And then you have a stop still remaining because it thinks that that order is still out or that position's still out there. And all of a sudden you get the wrong stop or wrong target hit going one way or the other. And all of a sudden your long becomes a short. It's just market mechanics. There's nothing we could do from our side on it. So that's why some of these things exist. And so you have to ask yourself, what do they do? What am I doing? What could happen? And the other most important thing that I could never stress enough, and every month I see this go on, is folks just turn on Brokerage Plus, not testing one thing in the simulator, go live, lose money, and they got a problem, right? I could never, ever stress enough that if you are not starting out in a paper trader before you go live, you are putting yourself at great risk. Great risk. Couldn't stress that enough. So anyways, that's life in the fast lane. That's life in the trader's lane. I mean, look, you can create your own alert windows, back test and optimize those, and then plug them into Brokerage Plus and have them auto trade for you. I can tell you we definitely have users doing that. Do we have 5 users doing it? No. But do we have 5,000 users doing it? Also no. Somewhere in between there. Several hundred maybe. So you can create an alert window for premium users. Back test it. There's different things that you can do for the back testing in here. And then once you've ran the back test, you can optimize. Different ways to optimize by price, time of day. You can optimize by symbols that were alerted. And then in the other filters, every filter that we offer, you can break down how those filters impacted the scan, whether you used the filter or you did not use the filter. You can change the intervals on them, so on and so forth, and then make the adjustments on the scan from there. The one thing I always really cautious folks on is don't over optimize and curve fit. meaning you could all of a sudden optimize a scan with, adding 20 different filters to it based on the optimization of it and all that. And it'll look great in the back test. And 3 weeks later, if you go to back test it, it starts falling apart completely from curve fitting and over optimization. Excellent. Yeah. Using a broker's paper trader. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Say, whether you use our paper trader or a broker's paper trader, either one. Awesome. Good stuff. How do you load a strategy in Brokerage Plus strategies window that you've saved locally? So you have to save it to the cloud to get it into Brokerage Plus. So it has to be an alert window. It cannot be a top list. It cannot be a multi window. It must be an alert window, but you'd right click, save or share to cloud, save it, right? And then you right click inside the strategies tab here and look for load from cloud. You'd find it in your cloud here. You can either search here, or you could scroll through, add it, load. And then once you load, it'll ask you, do you want to replace whatever strategies? And you just say add to strategy. So it looks something like this. Load from cloud, alert window, and then load from strategy, replace all existing, add to existing, which is generally what you want to do, replace by name, or if you decided you don't want to do it, cancel or exit out. Nope, no way to avoid the cloud for this. The one and only way. That's how to get it there. No ifs, ands, or buts. Sorry. Yeah, we have our own paper trader. Yep, we have our own paper trader. It's right in Brokerage. It's built into Brokerage Plus here. Now you go to brokers. We got Alpaca Paper, Alpaca Live, E-Trade, Interactive Brokers, and our paper trader. Smart risk levels, sure. So smart risk levels are essentially a calculation of ATR and volatility and range. And that's what gets you the smart risk level to the downside. And then the upside is just 2x to the downside, trying to keep people in a 2-to-1 ratio, upside to downside. That's it. And it's not overly complicated or fancy, but, it's a reasonable calculation from, what's the word I'm looking for? Indicators that are used in risk management. It's a reasonable calculation using multiple indicators used in risk management to decipher a stop loss, a mathematically created stop loss, and then 2xing it for the target, trying to keep people in mind that there's no successful traders with a 1-to-1 ratio out there, right? I mean, there may be a few out there, but generally speaking, if you lined up 100 traders, I'm sure close to 100, if not 100 of them, would tell you that you really need to have a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 risk loss, right? Meaning you need to make $3 for every $1 you lose if you want to be a successful trader. That's what your strategy has to do. If you're at 1-to-1, you're not going to make it. No delay. Now I'll say this, I don't know how brokers simulators work in the pre-market and post-market. Ours is kind of in the pre-market, post-market. First off, for those that don't know, just in case, you cannot use market orders in pre-market or post-market time. You have to use limit orders. And even in real trading, just because you put a limit order out there doesn't mean you're getting filled, right? Now, obviously, the stock is trading crazy in the pre or post-market, and your limit order is around last price where it's trading, there's a good chance you're getting filled, right? No promise still. So keep that in mind that we can't simulate liquidity necessarily, right? Liquidity, it either exists or it doesn't, but it's not something you can fake or simulate. So, if you're trying to trade, like, let's just say you got a stock that's like trading sporadically through the pre-market, probably not going to work great in the simulator. If you got a stock that's like just really lighting up the sky in the pre-market, more likely than not, it'll work fairly well in that case. So, all right, we're rocking and rolling here. We're rocking and rolling here. I think I've gotten to everybody's questions. If somehow I missed something or I didn't cover your question well enough, please come back at me with it so I can properly address it or make sure I don't skip over it. I never want to dodge a question. I never want to ignore anybody. I want to make sure everybody gets the answers that they're seeking, or well, gets at least some answers. Maybe it's not what you want to hear necessarily, but you get the picture. So, all right, I think we're good. Sorry, scrolling back up to look at all this here. No way to load into anything from the Market Explorer. The Market Explorer is unto its own. What is my one-on-one training all about? Not really doing it much these days because of my personal schedule, but outside of TI time, if someone just insists they want a one-on-one and they don't mind paying for it, I cover anything over with the software. Things I can't promise you that I'm gonna guide you with a one-on-one to craft an automated strategy or something like that, because I haven't been able to make one for myself in all these years, not from lack of effort. So, but we can cover any kind of functionality. I can cover over the steps that I believe would lead to successful automation, outside of being a quant and archiving data nonstop and spreadsheets and stuff like that. So that's what I cover. There's some, what I try to tell people before when they're inquiring about it is I'd rather see people come here to the free 12 p.m. sessions, join Barry in the free traders room. He can answer most any question to the software. We've got lots of videos and links and stuff like that. I'd rather see people spend a little more time with us through the free stuff, but there are some people that they just insist on the one-on-one. They don't care it costs money and so on and so forth. So, I had a number of people ask me for it over the years, and I said, I mean, if you're going to throw the money at me, I'm not going to say no. Is there a reason why the AI is not working in the pre-market the way it was designed by the developers and management team here? I don't have their reasoning. It was done long before well before my time of working here. So I can only say that that's just the way it was designed. I don't, I was never given a real logical reason. I never asked, and I was never given a real logical reason behind it. I'm sure they had their reasons. I could take a stab at a guess of some of them. Andy's a swing trader. I've converted to a swing trader. I mean, look, I'll enter things looking to be a swing trade. There are plenty of times that I exit on the same day. It wasn't my intention, but sometimes that's the way life goes. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. We used to do 5 p.m. Eastern webinars where it was, constructed content for about 35 minutes or so. And it becomes difficult doing this, coming up with something new and fresh to do all the time. On top of that, I don't know that people care or interested in what I'm really going over. So I'd rather leave it at that. Also, doing those webinars became very time consuming for us, that we were creating this content throughout the course of the day to do the webinar. And I don't have that kind of time. I don't have time luxuries here, unfortunately, like that. My days, start at 5 o'clock in the morning here at the desk with what I do. And I run to 4:30 most every day, Monday through Friday. So I don't have the time to create content like that, unfortunately. We don't have back tested strategies if that's what you're looking for. Come on, bro. Yeah, I think, my 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then I work the weekend. I work every weekend too. I work all through the weekends also. So considering I'm working 7 days a week for the last, I don't know how long, however many years, I'm good. Thank you though. I appreciate that. But yeah, Moon, there's no back tested strategies out there. You're welcome to back test, anything that we have in the channels, you're welcome to back test and then save the scan as you make any adjustments in the back testing, of course. And when you say delete the strategies that you don't want to keep, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm going to take a shot in the dark, and this is what you mean. Bear with me. Are you talking about like these recent settings? Because if you're talking about those, you actually need a web page that doesn't really exist anymore. I got to go on a scavenger hunt to find it for you, which I'll do right now, of course. Bear with me. Nope. All right. So if you're looking to, nope, that's not it. Here we go. If you're trying to delete recent alert settings or alert windows, that's what you're looking for. This web page is where you can do it. Yeah, early retirement. I wish. I'll be honest. I like my job very much. So, I mean, I like my job very much. Those that enjoy their jobs, they usually, good to go. And they don't. I wouldn't be seeking early retirement. That's for sure. I enjoy what I do here. I enjoy educating and talking about the software, and in this kind of setting, especially when people are truly engaged, they truly care, they're truly making an effort. The only frustrating part about my job is the emails where, we get these constant emails where I need your bot to make me $5,000 a month. Like, okay, I mean, I'm sorry, but I find it hard to believe there are people that think there are bots out there that you just buy, plug in, and it gives you money in the market. I know there are people, I guess there are really people that believe that, but it makes me sad is what it does. It makes me sad. All right, Moon, glad that worked out. So it's funny. I haven't thought about that page in probably 2 or 3 years. And this month alone, you're probably the 5th or 6th person to ask me that. And no, the money machine will not do that. The money machine will give you a dynamic way to enter trades based on TradeWave or other ways that you can scan with races, top lists, and tree maps that don't currently exist. You'll be able to put dynamic exits such as the TradeWave as exits as well, which doesn't currently exist. Like, you can't do that in a broker right now. You can't set orders based on moving averages in a broker. They don't accept orders based on that, right? That's what the money machine will allow you to do. But there's not going to be a press play and it just makes you money. That's never going to exist. I'm sorry if that hurts people's feelings or angers them or anything like that, but there will never be a system in the stock market where a regular person is going to step in, pay, I don't know, $1,000 or $5,000, press play, and then head out to play golf, pick the kids up from school, run to the bank, and then come home and count their money. That's never going to exist. That is correct. Anything you want to make money in life, generally speaking, outside of those that are fortunate enough to win a lottery or something like that, hard work and grinding. I know that's not what people want to hear. It's certainly not what I wanted to hear. Certainly not, certainly not what other folks want to hear, and certainly not what I like telling people. But that's the reality of life. So got a couple of minutes left here before I wrap up for this Monday. Please don't be shy. If you got some questions, get those in. Like, I'll be honest, I'm chopping at the bit too for this money machine, because I believe that this race that I have here with me on the handle, using some trade wave action, so a little bit of me managing and a little bit of the trade wave helping me to manage, I think I might be able to do all right with this scan here. I don't know for sure, and I won't know until I get access to the money machine, which I don't know when I'll have access to it. But to say I'm intrigued would be an accurate statement on all that. To have these dynamic abilities that don't currently exist, and to have some, not just the dynamic ability to get in, but the dynamic ability getting out. That's what I'm really interested in here, right? Like, look, this is a great example here with HUSA. We got kind of chopped up here on that first buy sell, but then this buy looked pretty good down here, and this sell don't look too shabby there, right? And this is what I talk about often here, right? Here's the bottom and here's the top of today. We would have gotten this part in the middle here, right? I mean, we missed out on this part here and we missed out on that part here. But if you got this out of all of this on, 2 out of 3 trades, you're ahead of the curve. You're without a question ahead of the curve on that. Just by having that kind of winner out of 2 out of 3 trades. So, I'm ready. I'm ready to see how it does. I'm ready to see how I can do with it. Obviously, some tweaks may need to be made and things of that nature, or whatever else. But interesting nonetheless. That's for sure. I'm certainly pumped over here for it as well as anybody else is. I mean, here's the thing. If there was an easy way for the public to make money in the stock market or Forex or options or anything else, everybody would run to it. Everybody. It wouldn't be a secret, because human beings cannot keep secrets. So that's my big thing with it. Could something like that exist where there's some semi-automation and you using your good judgment and own trading plan with that? Yes, there is. And in fact, you could even do that with our software now, where you could create a strategy that you like the alerts that generally come from it, and it gets you into the trades, and maybe it's getting you into 3 or 4 trades in a day, and you manage from there. So that kind of semi-automation already exists with our software. I mean, you could obviously add logic for exits on it as well. But, the tough part about the exits is sometimes you don't want just a solid stop loss and target only, right? Based on percent above or below, or dollar amount above or below. That's where the money machine becomes such an intrigue, is these dynamic exits instead, right? That's where that becomes such an intrigue in that regard. So it's not like automation's a far-fetched holy grail. It's a very tough endeavor, but it exists just with with work and knowledge. Did I follow that? No, I did not follow HUSA. Hamptons, yeah, right. Even if I ever had Hamptons money, I'd never go to the Hamptons. I prefer a nice lake and mountains, or a more quiet beach. Doesn't need to be anything special, secluded, but I don't want the Hamptons. Exactly what I said to my friend who told me about it. Listen, it may work. I could be completely wrong, and it's this great kept secret for all I know. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. I just, skeptical. That's all. And I think everybody within reason knows that if it's too good to be true, it is, right? That's just how everything in life works, at least from my experience in life. Too good to be true, without a question, it is. Thanks. I don't know that I'm an expert. I know a lot about the software. Occasionally, I get tripped up with things. I know a lot about the software because of how much troubleshooting I've had to do. I don't use all of the software. I mean, if we were to look into, the alert windows here, come on. Sorry, my menu bar was being funky with me. We were looking to the alert windows here, and I don't know what every single one of these data points do. I'm comfortable with saying I probably only used 20% of the data points that are in here. I've hardly used any of the alerts. I'm comfortable with saying I played around with 50+% of the filters. Definitely, I'm comfortable with 50 plus, 55, maybe pushing 60% of the filters I played around with in scan building. But I would be comfortable saying that I've probably used about 15% or less of the actual alert events in here. I've perused through them. I've hit the help pages on probably most, if not all of them, read over them. But I mean, you're talking over 500 data points. And if you're not, like anything else, you're not getting reps in it constantly. It's going to be in one ear and out the other type of thing here. So, when it comes to trading, I'm no expert. What I'm very good at with trading or trading knowledge is I'm very good at parroting the cliches that are out there from the titans that have come well before me that are still around, and a lot of good folks out there sharing knowledge consistently in different forums. And so most of what you hear come out of my mouth is some parroting or paraphrasing what those folks have said before me. I don't have too many original thoughts when it comes to this. Probably a few, but a lot of great folks out there with, really great insight that's shared all the time. I feel lucky that I, stumbled into some of these groups. $5 p.m. Pacific here. It's like 8 or 9 a.m. over there. Yeah, if you're on the West Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of me. I'm in New York. So that be that. All right, folks, it's 1 o'clock. If anybody has any other questions, specific questions on the platform, fire those in here. If not, I'm going to wind this down for the day and get back to answering 1,000 emails. And while I wait to see if any other questions come in, I just can't stress this enough. Everything in life, you get out of it what you put into it, right? This is no different. And there's no promises on anything. But for those that, really take their time to create a trading plan and test it and refine it over time, and then the discipline to stick to it when it looks successful, those people are set up for success. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about them. 100% of those folks succeed. That's just how it goes. Because those are also the kind of folks that can adjust when the market adjusts. When the market makes changes, Those are the folks that can also make the changes to keep up with those changes in the market. There aren't a lot of changes that happen that take out the true and tested things. The bottom line is this. Take care there, 3 Sharp. We're trend followers, right? Trying to find that trend as early as we can. And when it changes, get out as early as we can on that trend, right? I'm trying to just get the meat of it, the big meat of it, right? That's what we, and it doesn't, if you're on a 1 minute time frame, 5 minute, 15 minute, hour, 4 hour, day, weekly, month, whatever it is, whatever you decide the time frame is right for you. And that's important part of who you are as a trader. Remember, or I shouldn't say remember, but last thing I'll leave with, I guess, is this. Who you are as a trader may not be who you want to be as a trader. I wanted to be a day trader. I'm not a day trader. I'm a swing trader. Just the way it is for me. Just the way things went. So I'm happy with it now. I wasn't at first, but that's life, right? So I appreciate you all coming in. This was a phenomenal session, I felt like. I really appreciate you all being here. I really felt like this was a great session. Thank you all for the interactions, the engagements, the questions. And I may be back tomorrow. I can't say for certain right now or not. Maybe it's going to be Steve or Andy tomorrow. We'll see how it all shakes out. So thank you all again for being here, and we will catch you on the flip side. Thanks again, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.